Like a blossom on a watercolour landscape, Dr. WHeasel soaks the paper of tyranny wherever he goes. And with staunch charcoal specialist Advick Goose, right now he's gone straight to jail on the Planet Pongo and won't be collecting 200 space bucks in episode 3 of Dr. WHeasel, Doppelweasel.
There are moments when I wonder if my life is being written by a sadistic writer who delights in dumping me into one miserable imprisonment after another. I'm sure Freud would have something pretty pithy to say about his psyche.
Oh, what a racket! And who dropped a gas giant on my head?
Dr. WHeasel! You're awake, oh thank Zarquad. Careful getting up. Those ball troopers were not too gentle when they tossed us into this dungeon.
Another dungeon? Honestly, there's a monotonous regularity about this sort of thing. Oh, my head! I don't suppose I left any painkillers in the welcome to the dungeon kit?
Sorry, Doctor. Just some rather rusty-looking water. Here, drink something. You're still looking shockingly pale. Even for a weasel.
Oh, thanks, Advick. Yes, I am feeling a bit better now, although since I worked out just while I've been feeling so bad, I'm probably in danger of a major relapse.
Yes, Doctor, what was it? Did those Pongoian troopers hit you with some sort of subsonic disruptor beam that only affects Time Weasel or something? Because I feel quite okay.
Well, that's because you're from a less evolved race, Advick. Don't give me that look. I'm just telling you like it is. Were you a hyper-advanced, chronally sensitive species like we Time Weasels, you'd have been in danger of losing your breakfast too.
What of your hyper-advanced senses detected then? Are we so far in the past that your brains got scrambled? I could probably learn to live with that.
Gee, it's when you're down on the ground, puking your guts out, that you soon learn who your friends are. But no, it's nothing like that.
Okay then, go on, explain and sound clever. You know that always makes you feel better.
Right, you'll remember I used all that Wheeze energy to punt us out of the time vortex? And, I said there might have been some unforeseen eventualities? Well, I wasn't exactly sure until I stepped out of the Wheeze and it felt like I'd been slapped in the face by a rogue dwarf star.
Very colourful, Doctor, but that doesn't explain what happened.
Look, we didn't just pop out of the time vortex. We popped right out of time and space itself. Or at least our time and space. We've somehow, literally, penetrated the impermeable barrier between universes. That's not supposed to be possible. Or at least the ancient Time Weasels so it said.
So, does the energy drain of the Wheezes have something to do with all this universe hopping?
Alarmingly, yes. Normally the Wheezes tops up its energy through an interspatial link to the Eye of Discord on Galloway. Gives her practically limitless energy reserves. Now with crossed universes, there's no longer any connection, and as far as I can sense, there's not any Time Weasels in this cosmos either.
So, and I'm really just trying to get this straight in my own head, Doctor. We're in a totally different universe. The Wheezes is crippled and unable to recharge, and oh yes, we've been sentenced to death by combat. Have I left anything out?
No, that was a pretty succinct recap. You'd make someone a lovely narrator, Advick. Now look, there's no time for shilly-shallying. Let's get out of this cell and... Oh!
What do you mean, oh?
The lock. It's a basic metal, lock and key affair. Pretty solid, too. Sonic toothbrush will be utterly useless against that. Unless it's a long shot, but I could pick the lock with a hairpin. Do you have one?
A hairpin? Do I look like the sort of goose who carries a hairpin about their person? Wait a minute. What am I thinking? The pin on my badge of mathematical excellence. Would that work as well?
Oh, perfectly. Brilliant, Advick. We're 50% of the way there. Right. All we have to do now is learn how to pick locks with a metal pin, and we're on our way out of Pogo City. And why are you looking at me like that?
Sorry, you don't actually know how to pick locks?
Never came up at Time Weasel Academy. Or if it did, it was on one of those days I played hooky to go off and visit a few Time Weasel ladies in the Zero-G Soaporarium.
Zero-G No. I think I'll leave that hyper-advanced mystery to my imagination. Oh, why do I have such a vivid imagination, though? Oh, okay, Doctor. What's Plan B?
Well, Plan B is to somehow defeat our opponent in the combat, and then stir up in sudden revolution all the locals through our heroic example, probably coupled with a rousing speech I mostly nicked from Shakespeare. Not that they'll know I'm plagiarising him, it's all new and fresh to them.
Frankly, that sounds like your bog standard Plan A. Did you perhaps consider that the citizens of Pongo might be happy and content under their Emperor's rule?
What madness is that? Every civilization is just one weasel and goose fight away from being incited to armed revolution. Honestly, Advick, didn't you study basic social history at school?
I rather fear my history lessons were somewhat more prosaic. Doctor, did you receive a funny...
Quickly, Dovemen! Bind those creatures' limbs and let us depart before any of Spang's minions arrive!
Doctor, am I concussed? There are some giant pigeons trying to kidnap us.
Kidnap, rescue, abduct, enslave. I wouldn't limit our options.
Good. Now muzzle the handsome one speak as well. I'd rather not have him chattering all the way back to Coat City. And now, we fly!
Ah, my brave Dovemen, see? Young Lieutenant Valorius approaches, and he's brought us a mighty prize.
Prince Velveeta, my lord, I have done as you instructed and rescued the two aliens from Spang's dungeon.
Good. Well, let's hear what they've got to say for themselves.
Oh! I think you just tore off my 3 favourite whiskers. Why, if I wasn't trussed up like a turkey, I'd give you such a slapping. I bet you don't know anything about Uranian Pilates.
Doctor, look! We're in another flying city. Fancy that. I wonder if they bought these on discount somewhere in bulk.
Silence! Now, wasn't that better? Well, Dash Weasel and Professor Wings Peckoff. Who would have thought you'd fall so easily into Spang's clutches, and then into my claws? This is a glorious day for the Dovemen of Coat City.
Can anyone else hear that noise?
My prince! Look! It's Dash's ship, the Sparkling Spirit!
Whoever's piloting it must be a fool or a hero to come in at that speed. Right into the heart of my Dovemen kingdom. All Dovemen, prepare to fire!
I guess now will be a really bad time to suggest that perhaps you've mistaken us for 2 other handsome space travellers. Okay, Prince Velveeta, you've got just one chance to order all of your Dovemen to surrender. Hand over your prisoners, or I'm going to get a bit bitey.
Doctor! He looks just like you, and he sounds just like you too. Only he's wearing a bomber jacket and sunglasses. I thought you said there weren't any Time Weasel in this universe.
There aren't. I would have felt them. Which leads me to wonder, just who is that handsome weasel?
Duh, Comrade Velveeta. I do as my friend Dash says. He is known across the kingdoms of Pongo for his quick temper and accurate shot.
Oh, groblots, Advick. There's another one of you, too. Oh, this universe just gets worse and worse and worse. Can the Doctor and Advick escape from the talon clutches of Velveeta and his Dovemen? Just what do Dash Weasel and Professor Peckoff want with our cosmic refugees? And can any universe be big enough for 2 WHeasels? Make sure you don't get in a fluff about it before episode 4 of Doppelweasel.
Dr. Weasel and Weasel Audio Enterprise production, featuring Randolph Weasel as Dr. Weasel, Coons and Goose Advick Goose, Elliot Stewart Field as Lieutenant Valorous, and Benton Johnson as Prince Velveeta.